Are you going places or left behind because you don't have a travel companion? Listen to how you can travel more independently. Dr. Travelbest will bring you the best answers, tips, and her mistakes so you can benefit.
Welcome to Dr. Mary Travelbest's Independent Travel Guide. This is for women who travel, who want to travel, and especially for those who want to travel independently. What's on your bucket list? I'll help you get there. I'll respond to your travel questions as well as share my mistakes and missteps in travel. And because I've made just about every mistake, you don't have to. I wrote and published the best-selling book, CD, and website, The World's First Guide to Independent Travel. And since 1993, I've been running a marketing business, raising 4 children with my husband, and been a university professor while traveling. These travel experiences are like tools, so I want to share them so you make your trip travel best. In this episode, I'll talk about an FAQ, what to do when you get stranded. The independent destination is Catalina Island, California. My mistake is not getting lunch and being reckless. And my tip is to stay in an alternative to a hotel, such as an Airbnb. So the FAQ, what to do when you get stranded. It's going to happen sooner or later if you're a traveler like me. But today's world is hyper-connected, so you are never really out of possibilities. If you're in an airport, there's usually a hotel nearby that you can stay at. I've even slept in airports if necessary. It's not the ideal place, but sometimes you will. So if you're alone in your car, that would be a different situation. You should seek shelter if you can. Thing is, you don't want to run out of power. So you could find a place to charge your batteries, to recharge yourself, to get gas, and get to safety. So another thing to think about is be sure you drink enough water. And if you are hiking, then hopefully you'll have some cell service and you can call for directions. You can also let someone know you need help. One thing to think about is try to be calm and consider what resources you have and the situation before you let fear incapacitate you. One thing that I do is keep a positive outlook, and I talk to myself. I know that sounds kind of strange, but if you need to, sometimes talking to yourself is a really good way to figure out the situation. So today's independent destination is Catalina Island, California. I want to tell you about a couple of trips I've done. The first time I went to what's called Two Harbors. We called it Twin Harbors. We didn't know the real name. And we camped. We had a large group of friends, and we found some beautiful scenery and swimming. The second time I went was for a bachelorette party. And I'm sure we were doing some karaoke on that trip. And it was really a fun trip. It's time for another visit. Most people, when they go to Catalina, they go to the town of Avalon. It's where you'll be dropped off. It's a small town. It's got a lot of golf carts, not too many cars. When was the last time you drove a golf cart on the street? So when you get to thinking about going to Catalina, you can get there a couple of different ways. One is to take a high-speed boat, and you can take that from Long Beach, and you can visit officially Santa Catalina Island. It's good for a one-day trip or even a weekend. And if you do want to go on a weekday, you'll find plenty of rooms available. You might have to pay a little bit more on a weekend, but that's up to you. You could just go for the day or stay as long as you like. It's an island. That's what I like about it. You can't get too lost. And it's really ideal for a single or independent traveler. I'll share a little bit more about that. So what do you see on the island? Well, one of the things that you'll see are buffaloes, or technically speaking, they are American bison. And these are wild, and you can find them easily, really, but stay away. I mean, really stay away. It's not for fun. These guys are huge, and you don't want to go near them. They can charge at you at about 30 miles an hour. I want to say special thanks to William Wrigley of the Gum Company for creating this fairy tale of an island. I think it's perfect for single travelers because you can explore whatever you want, when you want, and you could be active or passive. Really, there's nature things, there's culture things, there's all kinds of things, or just relaxing. So how do you get there? Well, I mentioned that you can get there from Long Beach. It takes about a 1-hour trip on that high-speed ferry, or you could take a helicopter in 15 minutes and get you there. There are 2 companies that offer that ferry service I mentioned, and they go out from Southern California off of Long Beach, which is where I've been from, San Pedro, Dana Point, and Newport Beach. They'll take you to both Avalon and Two Harbors. And I said, what is there to do when you get there? Well, you can do anything you like. You can just walk around and get to know the layout. You can rent one of those little Jeeps, one of those little golf carts. You can visit the information center, and then you can decide what to do. So you don't need a guide. You can figure it out. This would be a really good place if you've never done an independent trip alone, totally. Just go out there on your own and enjoy it. So today's mistake. My mistake was not getting lunch. And I'll be more specific. I was young and reckless. I was skiing with my group, not any really good friends, just a group of young people. And I skied one too many runs without eating. I was having such a good day, I should have stopped. This is 2 or 3 in the afternoon by the time I fell on my collarbone. I heard the snap. I knew it was broken. I had to be taken down the hill on a stretcher. That was not fun. And I got to the hospital and there was no doctor. So I waited for hours, still no doctor. Finally, I saw someone who gave me a splint, but it was really painful. And I wore a body cast for 3 weeks. So my lesson here and mistake is be sure you have lunch. The person who doesn't stop for lunch gets hurt. Don't do this. Don't do what I did and be reckless, and always ski in control. Today's travel advice is to stay at a private home. Try a hotel alternative, such as Airbnb or VBRO. And I'm seeing that Marriott is in the home rentals game as well. So if you've used one, you've already done this. But for some of you who have not tried it, it's an adventure in itself. Each place is different, so you won't expect the same amenities as in a hotel. I stayed in these all over the world, and I highly recommend it. I did have some challenges. In Japan, one time I waited for about an hour just until I could figure out how to get in. That was a challenge, but it got solved. And here's an interesting place in Bangkok, Thailand. This was in January. We had to borrow the fingerprints of the owner to get on the deck to use the swimming pool. So the owner had these made in plastic. So we did that, and it worked. We were the only ones in the swimming pool, but just having these plastic fingerprints was kind of weird. If you get a little piece of plastic and that's the fingerprint, that was the way that we got access to the deck. In LA, I stayed in a dorm, and that dorm just had bunk beds. And it was walking distance to an event where I was going. It worked out. I was there for 2 or 3 nights. My last day, I left a sweater in the bed by mistake. And although the gentleman said he would mail it back to me, he never did. So don't leave things behind. There's really no way to track them. Another thing that I did was, some of them may be better than others. So read the ratings from previous guests. In Cannes, France, I stayed in a terrible place and I left a bad review. And just remember that they can review you as well as a guest as you can review them. So it works both ways. I want to bring meaning to your travel. So thanks for sharing this edition of the world's first guide to independent travel with Dr. Mary Travelbest, and share it with your girlfriends. If you want to know more, just search for Dr. Mary Travelbest and you'll find me on the web, on social media, and in audio formats. Helping women travel best is my goal. Please send me your travel questions so I can help you and help others too. I'm looking for you to travel best. So go ahead and let me know what's on your bucket list.
What's on your travel bucket list? Tell the doctor and her team of women who travel the world seeking the very best. Dr. Travelbest, that is.